Hola clase, so we're going to be discussing teaching, and for this chapter, a few concepts that you need to keep in your mind. First, teaching in itself is sort of a problematic term because every teacher has a concept of what teaching means. So, but in multicultural education, we have a number of principles that we all agree on. And so a good way of studying is discussing the traditional mode of teaching. Paolo Freire, an educator and critical pedagogue, he talked about the banking model of education. Banking, it's the traditional way of teaching. The teacher's the sage on the stage, is the know-it-all, lecture types, and philosophically he approached this concept as students come with their blank slates, their empty heads, and they're just containers, and we just open their heads and we deposit. That's why it's called banking, because we deposit pellets of knowledge. We deposit knowledge in their heads. We believe critical pedagogy. It's a better way to go about education in general. Progressive education, critical pedagogy, going back to Dewey. Several of the principles that control this critical pedagogy, that defined it, are student-centered, teacher as a guide, not just as the know-it-all that has all the knowledge that deposits on the students. So we're talking about a concept of education that goes beyond delivering content and subject matters to an audience. Traditionally and still today in many schools we do that. We believe now in collaborative learning. This is one of the characteristics of progressive education, of critical pedagogy, with critical thinking at its roots. We don't teach to the test. We don't think that rote memorization is the way to go. We don't think that those are skills that are going to allow the students to develop to their maximum potential. They may do well in GPA and in a system that appreciates or that honors GPA and grades in tests to send them to college to get a degree. But then we also believe in education as a social institution. And so we don't believe it happens in a vacuum. We don't believe it happens in isolation. We believe education is a social event. And as such, it needs to be organic and more natural. In life, we don't go through life sitting down on desks and writing exams in 2-hour times. That's not how we operate when you have a relationship, when you are in an employment. That's not what you're going to be doing. You need to develop social norms. You need to be aware of the social context. You need to learn to work in group and deal with each other, handle each other. These are skills that teaching to the test and examinations don't really give students. Some people may argue, that's the role of the house. And so in here, my job, I'm a math teacher. I'm just going to teach math to your student and to your child. And then, social attitudes and things of that nature, that's not in my field. Well, that's not what we believe. We believe a teacher is a more holistic kind of entity, approaching the student as a whole, especially ELLs and immigrant students that come with a number of factors that affect their success in our school. If we just apply this cold, emotionless formula of just delivering subject matter content to our students, they're destined to fail probably. So in a progressive education, in a critical pedagogy model, where we talk about collaborative learning, and by the way, there is room in that as well for collaborative teaching. We can discuss that in a minute. But in collaborative learning, it's not, I've seen it done in so many different ways. People just group students together and call that collaborative learning. All right, it needs to be well done. And by that I mean including the narratives, the histories, the experiences, the cultures and languages of the students you're serving, the students you're trying to reach. You as the guide, the teacher guide, you're in charge of developing the lesson plans, the activities, the questions, the performance assessments that are going to engage students meaningfully toward a standard, toward a goal, toward a knowledge. And this needs to be well done, including students' experiences, learning from and with each other. And that could be something as simple as sharing ideas and just listening to each other, but it can be a little more complex than that. Trying to open minds, learn from other people's experiences, learn how all experiences are real and they're all valid in a sense, whether you come from a middle-class privileged background or you come from an immigrant poor family, they're both experiences that are real and valid in the classroom, and they both deserve to be included in the curriculum. And by that, not just tokenism. I'm talking about teaching, teaching the whole process of teaching, not just a night where we're gonna share experiences. I'm talking the entire experience throughout the year, including narratives, including experiences, acknowledging them, empowering them, with the standards in mind, keeping the students on track to get to the highest potential, to achieving standards, achieving knowledge, acquiring content, and at the same time paying attention to language. We're going to be discussing that soon as well. So within collaborative learning and critical pedagogy, these are terms you want to be familiar with. Banking education, critical pedagogy, progressive education, collaborative learning. There's also room for collaborative teaching. I'm a defender, I'm a great supporter of collaborative teaching. I've seen people put together that don't want to be together and it doesn't work that well. I agree with collaborative teaching as long as people like each other and it's a pair or a team that likes to be together. That doesn't happen all the time because of, well, life. People don't pair up all the time freely. But I do support collaborative teaching when it's well done. And it can be designed by your administrators, or it can be decided by you with your peers in your school if you're working in the same content areas and grade levels and such. So, but I wouldn't force it on people. I taught a collaborative classroom. I co-taught with another teacher, and it was beautiful. It was a true cacophony for the students, a one-in-a-lifetime experience. It was a male Spaniard and a female Mexican. And the students were getting, and we combined really well, and the students were getting a true cacophony that was well organized. Our lesson planning was done together. We met every day. It's a lot of work, but we liked each other. We were friends. So the chemistry was there. It was just beautiful, and it happens really well. And if it's well done, teachers don't step on each other, and they don't contradict each other in evaluations, and there is really a very smooth, organic, and natural way of teaching. I have seen other ones that it's just like there's no point in having them together in the classroom. But, you know, if we're going to be, we always like modeling for our students. So if we're preaching collaborative learning, we should be preaching collaborative teaching. We should be modeling how to work together with somebody and achieve a common goal. So, okay, I look forward to seeing you in the discussions. Remember these terms: banking education, traditional model of education, critical pedagogy, collaborative learning, collaborative teaching. Look forward to seeing you there in the discussions. Adios.